Yeah,
You
yeah,
good?
yeah.
Okay.
Everyone, we're having technical difficulties, so we're just trying to get through
Yeah.
it today.
Yeah. Kind
Yeah,
of froze there for a minute.
yeah. Had to get back in.
Okay.
All right, we're just gonna start off today. We're gonna be talking about the neighbor statement.
Yeah.
That the lady named Janet Masters that lived across the street.
Yes. Janet Masters was one of our neighbors when we lived in Paris, California.
Hmm.
Actually, Lake Elsinore, California, on Roberts Street.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to get off into that first.
Now we're gonna get off. We're gonna get off until with Laura's daughter. We're gonna do that
Oh
one
yeah, that's right. You're right about
exactly.
that.
You know, she
Yeah. So
ain't.
before, yeah.
Hmm.
So you want to take over that or?
Nah, you go in. I'm gonna jump in. Just
Okay. So like you stated before we began, we want to talk a little bit concerning Laura Cowing's daughter, Miriam Shabazz. On July 6, 2026, Miriam went to this website on Facebook. Is that correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
So this is
mhm,
another platform. This has nothing to do with us.
yeah,
But somebody had something on Facebook and they had posted something in the field of they didn't believe Laura Cowing or something to that extent. And this was on uh, some website called Baby Something, a base website on Facebook. And um, somebody made a comment concerning um, on that platform of something that they didn't agree with Laura's mother. So when Richard was given a response to the true facts, Miriam went to to our private family page, uh,
exactly.
13 siblings on Facebook, and she posted some disgusting comments. I mean, it's pretty much just the usual attack, when you don't want another side to speak and you want your mother to control everybody's lives,
Hmm.
everybody's whereabouts, the way everybody think, pretty much everything.
Yeah, she wanted to control the narrative and how what her
Yeah,
mother was stating because I went on that platform and somebody was going against what Laura was saying. It was how come she didn't do this to do to get out of the situation because she had
right,
access for this and that. And I went and just stated my little comment and I commented to something else. She saw it and then went on our page and
hmm,
start talking about look at mental illness at its finest or something like that. And I
yeah,
replied and I said, well, your mother has mental illness because she stole abused children, no trauma story. And then I said something else. I don't want to get into that. But she came to our page, so it's like I gave it to her like, look, hey, you know.
right,
And the reason why I want to say the other thing is because we may end up talking about that later.
yeah.
Yeah.
But just the comment she made, like you said, the comment she made, and I screenshot it too as well. But the comment she made, she put mental illness, posted it,
Hmm.
and if viewers or your friends on our Facebook page, you go up there and see what she posted. But she put mental illness at its finest, and she said all of y'all need to get a life.
Yeah.
So, like I said, her mother has taught her how to be. Well, I mean, her mother is at fault, but she's at fault too because she's what, 34, thirty
Yeah.
five
She
years
grown.
old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's sitting up there saying that, mental illness, at its finest, and that people, we need to get a life. Uh, FYI, this is our life. This
Exactly. This. Yeah.
this is our life, and it was a part of our life, and it still is. And the reason why we're speaking, it's a part of our life because your mother keeps going out there, putting false narratives out there about us. And to be honest with you, I've said this, and I think I said it to you, Rick. I
Mhm.
don't want no attachments. I don't want none of our family having no attachments to them at all. Now, all like I'm really like sick of it, like being connected to them and her consistently bringing all of us up all the time. Because the thing is that the narrative that Laura's putting out there, all of us know who she's talking about, and
Yeah.
we've been knowing because we was involved in that stuff, and it happened to all of us for a long time, and we're well aware, you know. And so Miriam want to try to be nasty and cruel and put stuff out there like we're pretty much telling people we're mentally ill, so don't listen to us. Cause
Yeah.
what happened don't matter. Uh what happened to them don't matter, you know. And so that's what, you know, I took from the comment, you know, that she made, is that because first of all, none of us have never went to none of their platforms and spoke to them ill like that, you know, have never done that. Now I went back after she posted some stuff
Mhm.
on our foundation page, which I got a screenshot of what I told her, and I told her nothing but the truth of things that her mother did. She was 4 months old, so she's not even aware of things that we know that her mother did. And whether she refused to believe it or not, the fact is that you was 4 months, 4 months old, and all of us is a lot older, and we saw the things that her mother did. And those things her mother did is not going to go away. It's never going to be erased from none of our memories of what she did. So, you know, you can keep being cruel, saying nasty things, going to people's platforms, saying things, thinking that's going to make us stop talking. But it's not going to get any better, Miriam. It's going to get worse because there's more footage. There's more
Yeah.
footage coming. And not just that, but outside of that legally, you're going to see the time to come. There's going to be more things coming. You're not going to like it, but you're going to see the facts and proof of things that your mother did. And you've lived a good life. You and all three of your siblings living off of all of us as well. You guys are grown adults, and you still dragging the same narrative that all of this stuff was done to you. There's not even one single documented report, no doctor's reports of none of you guys. None of you guys of the stuff that you said and your mother is stating and your other two siblings that stated that happened to them. Even Taz, the way that she's lied, being 8 months old, coming out of our house like that, and she sat on platforms verbally and just have typed nothing but lies. And like I said,
But
they
see,
mother,
they get this all from Laura. They get
yeah,
this all of that from Laura. You know.
they got it from their mom, but I'm saying
Yeah.
they're grown. They're
Yeah.
all grown. They know better. They know better than to keep doing that. They know that, you know. And then to play around with mental illness to even stick us like that and to keep saying that consistently all the time. That's like, you know, that's foul and horrible. And it need to be brought to any followers of Laura Cowing, anybody that's helping her financially, to be brought to everybody's attention that her daughter is playing games when it comes to mental illness on these
And check
social
this.
websites. Keep
Hmm.
repetitiously saying that
Hmm.
like she's trying to make
Yeah.
somebody
Let me say this.
have
Let me say this. Let me say this right quick. It could be Laura doing it
possibly. Yeah.
because she don't. She's not gonna come out and say anything under her name towards
No.
us. She could be using her daughters be typing stuff in. So I don't know.
Yeah. But I'm saying that's just the type of person you are. You want to be that type of person, be that type of person. You want to be cruel, rude, vicious. You know, you want to do that. Just be that type of person. But it's not going to stop none of us from talking. And it's not going to get any better for Miriam, Laura, her siblings, and anybody else. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And when I mean it's going to get worse, just whoever's watching, keep on watching. And you're going to see that it's not going to get any better. It's not going to stop nobody from speaking at all.
Mm.
At all. And so, bottom line, in response to the mental illness in the past, Lord Cowan has called all 13 of us horrific names, and it's on YouTube. We also have this stuff screenshot where Laura mocked one of our siblings for being sexually assaulted with sitting up there with who? Charles White.
Yeah.
And she was mocking one of our siblings for being sexually assaulted and sitting
It
up
was
there laughing.
yeah,
And we do
laughing
have the screenshot, and we've spoke to the
about this.
individual
Hmm.
about it, and he still has the video up there and has not removed it. Laura mocked one of our brothers, calling him a coward because he left home and fled to our grandparents' house out of fear of being killed. And she said that told our brother Marcus that he ran his ass to another state because you knew your father was going to kill you. And she laughed and mocked him about that on YouTube, and we have that screenshot.
But she was a
Um,
prisoner, right? She was a prisoner.
yeah,
Musa was torturing her, but she doing all this.
yeah.
Okay.
And our brother left the situation because of what he felt he couldn't deal with no more and what was going on. And so Lord has called all of us stupid, roaches, pigs, and dogs, and stated we all was good for nothing, and wrote it on Facebook. We have a screenshot. Lord even
Yeah.
mocked our mother for being a battered woman by saying our mother was a cowardly lion in The Wizard of Oz. And she stated this on the Tracy Potts um, so-called staged interview, October 15th, 2025 at Tri-City College, which was staged an interview. And
Yep.
I noticed whenever any of us speak concerning our own experience, or we may speak concerning lies the Lord has told, it usually start with name calling, calling us names, which is one of the emotional patterns of abuse that she was doing in the house, calling names. And to name a few names that she was calling us in the house was shortcutted freaks, things, it, roaches, mice, and critters. So imagine being a child and you have a grown woman calling children names, and she's still doing it. And we have all this stuff screenshot. And this is why we speak and tell everybody that a lot of things that she did in the home, she's lying about, because she's displaying this behavior that we've all seen as children on internets and social websites and media and all that stuff. And then using her children to go to our social platforms and say nasty things to us, thinking that, oh, it's going to get a rise out of us. We're not going to say what you want us to say out of our mouth to get us in trouble, because what Laura is trying to do, she's trying to play the system like she did the system back then and got away with murder. And I say murder because she blatantly got away with any and everything, and she's still getting away. She's still getting away because what she's doing, she's not coming face to face, actually sitting down, talking, apologizing, or saying anything to us. She's going up under the radar and using other people, or she's using her kids. And when we speak, she goes in like a defense mechanism as the gaslight all of us that, oh, I'm afraid of them. I'm scared. This happened. Posting fake legal letters through real estate agencies and all types of stuff, thinking that's going to make all of us not speak.
And she can't stop us. This is our story. You can't
Yeah,
stop us from speaking on what happened to us growing up.
yeah.
You can't do that.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that she's done this for many years of using all of us financially and telling people, things to confuse the truth. And so I see it going on the same thing when we lived in the house. The only thing I see the other three using the same abuse tactics that their mother did, saying things to try to shame all of us. And like I said, that's why I keep really really good records, things screenshot, videos, all types of stuff, you know. And it shows what type of people they are. They shame all of us by saying y'all
Mm-hmm.
did not know how to read or we don't have a life, telling viewers we all are mental, don't listen to us, calling us crazy or psychos, labeling us based on being starved, beaten, and being defenseless children that was so in fear that we was not capable of getting any help. And then her mother, you got Laura sitting up there on Tamron Hall show saying that her
Yeah.
children gonna take over.
They
I
said
don't know how
sure gonna
they.
be taking over, but I'm
I don't
like
know
you,
how
how they
your
gonna
children
take
gonna take
over?
over when her son done burglarized people.
Yeah,
Those are
and some other
facts.
stuff. Yeah,
He
yeah.
done
That's just
burglarized people, and she done lied about him being in college for 12 years,
he was
and
locked up.
he doing burglaries and stuff, and then he's disrespecting women and got gang bangish mentality and stuff on his pages. But yet you think somebody gonna follow you? Those aren't followers. You guys need to take a lesson on some black activists and truly find out what it is to actually be an activist and have compassion and empathy for people, because that's not burglarizing people, smoking pot, and having your pants hang down and want to be a gangbanger and all types of stuff, flashing guns and all that stuff. That is not being a black activist. It's not at all. You know, going on websites telling people that they stupid, roaches, pigs, and dogs. That's not being an activist.
But
Name
he gonna
calling.
take over. He gonna take over her story for her though.
Yeah. I don't know what story he gonna take over. I don't know how they either of them gonna take over when they have viciously attacked victims of violent crimes, mocked, laughed, written, and made fun of all of us. All four of them have lived off our entire family for 20 years. Several Cleveland entities that I've spoken to have told us Laura has used all of us and gotten paid, making fun of abused children, you know, and that's deeply harmful what they is doing, what all of them are doing.
Yeah.
So I just call them all out. You know, Charles White, Tri-City Community College, a whole audience of students that was sitting out there laughing. All of that stuff. I call it all out. Not afraid to do it either. I'm just getting sick of, like I said, of all four of them attaching themselves to us like they're leeches and won't leave us alone and let us speak, you know. And the only thing they come to you with is some name calling, you
Yeah, that's
know.
all they got to do. Yeah.
We gonna name call you.
All right. Yeah.
So what we're gonna do now is we're getting
Yeah.
into the topic today
Yeah.
with
The neighbor, Janet Masters, because
Masters.
she lived across the street from y'all on, you said
Yes,
Robert Street, right? Out there.
yes. Janet Masters lived
Hmm.
in Lake Elsinore. She was our neighbor
Okay.
across the street, in the home that we lived in across the way. And her and Janet Masters, Musa and Laura, they were friends. So I have the four last pages from last week that
Okay.
is going to lead us to Miss Masters. So you
All
want to
right.
get started?
Yeah.
Okay, so um this is Mr. Morales um speaking. Excuse me, Julie Baldwin speaking. She says another one is October 6, 1996 incident, a Hemet Police Department report where a person by the name of Janet Masters calls the police and tells them that Laura Cowing is being held against her will. I can see a situation where it might be admissible, but it's all everything in the report that they are saying is hearsay based off of what Miss Masters said. Miss Masters states that she's never seen Mr. Muhammad attack Laura Cowing, and she never seen Miss Cowing held against her will because Miss Cowing was over at her home all the time typing letters or either bringing her children over for her to babysit them, or Miss Cowing was over at her house making phone calls and borrowing her vehicle. So I
Hold
would
on for a
just
second.
add,
Hold on for a second. She's over at Janet Master's house making phone calls and typing letters to who?
she was typing letters to her husband. It's gonna go. We're gonna go deep into that.
Okay.
What she was doing
Okay.
with her husband. She's typing letters to her husband. So I would just ask that be excluded unless there's some relevancy letter in the trial that it should be revisited on that time. March 97, my client allegedly opened an illegal telephone line in the name of his brothers and charged his brother $1,500. It's irrelevant, and I'd ask that be thrown out. And so the judge states he's going to throw that out. And then March of 99, my client allegedly pulls a gun on a process server. None of these cases were ever resulted in any charges, with the exception of Laura Cowing bringing up all of these incidents, even bringing up an incident concerning Miss Masters knowing that she was being held against her will. Miss Masters states that she will not testify because no such thing ever happened to her, nor was she a part of it, nor did she ever see anything happen like that. So Ms. Baldwin states, with respect to the 94 February threat to kill the landlord, I don't anticipate using that. And so the judge states, why is that relevant, and why would you use that when he was not charged for doing anything wrong? This is something that Ms. Cowing is alleging, and she was not present in 94. Is that correct? So Ms. Baldwin says yes. And she says, with respect to the October 96 police report, it should be noted that Janet Masters is a witness that will not appear on the people's witness list at this point. I don't feel that I need to actually have her testify in my case brief due to the fact that Miss Masters states that she never saw Laura Cowing being violently attacked, and she never called the police for Miss Cowing and made any type of reports for Miss Cowing at all, that she had never even heard of these incidents at all, and that she was refusing to testify against Mr. Muhammad due to the fact that she wasn't aware of any of these things happening and that she never saw it. Janet Masters states that she was a neighbor that lived across the road next to the defendant and his family in Lake Elsinore, California. And when they were living in that area, she said that she had befriended Miss Cowing and her husband, not knowing at the time that Mr. Muhammad was not her husband, and she found out later about that. Miss Masters said that Miss Cowing continued to write her letters after they had moved to Awanga and in other places that they lived in, but she just ignored the letters because she knew that Laura was not telling the truth and that there was no way that a person could be held hostage if they're running back and forth to her house every day. So as long as she's consistent with how she felt about the intent of Miss Cowing making up these stories, we will not have Miss Janet Masters as a witness to testify on behalf of Miss Cowing.
Wow.
And so that's the end of that. And so we're going to actually get into entire situation of what was going on with Laura claiming that she was being held hostage, and then telling I don't know. I mean, she was telling Miss Masters that there was things going on, but Miss Masters couldn't understand why would she have to testify if she didn't see those things going on.
So basically, the state wanted Miss Masters to say that she saw all this, right? Or
They
kind of agree
wanted
to
they wanted
agree with
Julie.
Laura,
Yeah,
right?
Julie wanted Miss Masters to say that she had called the police for Laura and that
Mm-hmm.
Laura had written her letters
Mm-hmm.
concerning. Now, Laura did write her letters, but when it came to contacting the police, Miss Masters said she had never contacted the police. And she said she didn't contact them because she never saw any of the stuff that she said that was going on. She saw something
So yeah,
totally
so
different.
this is what Laura said to the detectives and Julie and all them, that Miss Masters knew about all this abuse.
It's almost like last week, the
Mm-hmm.
first week when we did the opening of the trial, that she
Yeah.
was making up all of these dates. She made up like maybe 15, 16 different dates of
Uh
incidents
huh.
that happened. And like the judge stated, how can we charge somebody with hearsay when there's no police report, there's no doctor's report, there's
Mm-hmm.
no bruises, there's
Mm-hmm.
no witnesses? And what the district attorney was trying to do, Julie, she was trying to make Miss Masters a witness to this stuff that Laura was claiming without any proof. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why Mr. Morales said that if you call her in as a witness and Laura starts saying that she did all of this stuff and she told the lady this stuff and the lady is denying that it's not true, then it's hearsay.
Yeah.
It's hearsay. And so that's why I was explaining what happened in part one and part two. If viewers didn't see that she was making up stuff. And that's why she was considered, Laura was considered an impeachment witness, which
Witness.
is a
Yeah.
person that's not credible.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
said, well, we'll just let her testify, but it'll just be hearsay. So now we're gonna go into some situations, some things that happened, and then we'll stop and we'll discuss it. So Ms. Masters said that Laura asked her for a loan to borrow a few $1,000s to purchase a car, and that Laura told her she was looking for a job. So Janet said she gave Laura different newspapers, ads, all type of ads and all that for different jobs whenever she would come over to her house. Miss Masters said most of the time that she spent with Laura was alone, and she never gave her the feeling that she needed help or that she was in any trouble. And this is her letter and her explaining to the courts and investigators and to the judge that she didn't know anything about what Laura was talking
And
about.
and here's the thing, she's going over to Miss Masters' house every morning. She's going over there, communicating with her, and she's bringing her kids with her. And she's never said none of this stuff. Never said that Moose was
I,
beating her. Never said she was held hostage. None of this.
I told you when we lived in Lake Elsinore,
Mm-hmm.
before we even got a hold of any of this information, that every day when we lived over there for
Mm-hmm.
about, I say the max 8, 9 months, she wasn't even home. She would get up and it was a fight
Yeah.
for the bathroom,
Because
because
and Marcus, when I talked to Marcus, this interview we did up here, he was like, and you even said it, he was getting up
yeah.
early with her as it was leaving the
Mhm.
home. You know
Because
what I'm saying? And she was
Marcus was like mom, he was like a nanny. When we lived over there, she would get her kids up, take them she would go to the grocery store, run all the errands, be gone all day. She would go to the grocery store. She would take her kids to get their shots. She would go to the post or anything she had to do, go shopping, and wouldn't return home till later on. And then some nights she would be gone to Janet's house across the street.
so she's over there. Okay.
Yeah. So this is what I mean by when you have one person speaking and that's been speaking for a whole 20 years about a one-sided story and then trying to shut everybody else up because you don't want, audiences or social media or other people to actually really know the truth. Even looking at the movie Girl in the Garage, that's a Hollywood made movie. It's not even a
Exactly.
true,
Yeah.
it's
It's not
not
a true
even a true
story.
story.
Yeah,
It's
but they
not
use
even
but
true.
yeah, but here's the thing, they use elements of what happened to
Yeah.
all of all the Moose's
The
children in there.
likeliness of
The
all
like
of us.
yeah, even
That's what they did.
like the whole thing being thrown in the garage, that was y'all at her house. Y'all was in her garage. The
Hmm.
beatings, being separated from siblings over here, one over here, locked in the rooms, all this stuff. She took that those elements, things that happened to all of y'all.
Yeah. So I'm
Hmm.
just like, so um once this letter was received from,
Hold on, let's back up for a minute. Why she
mhm,
borrowing money from this lady?
I don't know if she even ever got the money. She just wrote in her letter to the
Okay,
judge that she asked for money. And the thing is, she said that she wasn't going to testify against Musa because she said she was both of their friends and that she never saw the things that Laura came up with. She
okay.
never saw those things. The lady didn't live in our home. So, what? I mean, I don't know how you say that you was being held against your will, but you're running back and forth to a store, borrowing cars, going across the street, getting ads to find jobs and all that. And the lady is helping you out and all that, but you're saying you're being held against your will. I'm just like that's not right. That, and I know how Janet Masters feel because that's how all of us feel. Is that that's not what we saw, you know.
Mm.
And so I know her kids want us to go along with it and say, "Oh, that's what we saw," and that wasn't our experience at all. That's not what we witnessed. None of us, of her being locked up like this so-called animal that was starving and that was malnutrition. Where's the evidence at? Where is it at? Okay, so once this letter, because I read a little portion of it, was received, um, from once this letter that
Hmm.
Janie Masters wrote to the courts and to the investigator, once this letter was received, that's when the judge and the state determined that Miss Masters was of no need to them, was no wit. She didn't have to testify. And I look at it that you see Laura used that lady by lying, saying she told things that she didn't tell her, thinking that this lady was gonna lie for her. That's what I look at it as. When I was reading the letter, I was like, yeah, so she was up there making up lies and hanging around this lady and making it like that she was telling this lady things, and this lady don't have no memory of her telling her none of that stuff, never saw any bruises, none of that stuff.
Wow. Mm.
And I guess she did that because she thought the lady was gonna lie for her. And especially, let me let me remind everybody this: this lady was a white lady with blonde hair and blue eyes. And so I'm thinking that this was like a color thing too. That she figured because we was a black family, well, she white, she'll lie for me. But guess what?
It didn't
That didn't
happen.
work. Her plan did not work, and there was not one witness that testified for Laura in this case, neither. Again, like you stated, she was her own witness,
Yeah, like I said, she's her own witness and own hero.
just standing there like me, myself, and I,
Yeah.
telling this stuff. And then we go down to uh, uh, uh,
Moose's
Khaled,
friend.
a
Yeah,
friend of
yeah.
Musa. This is another friend. So this is Khaled. A friend of Musa told investigators that he thought Laura was a bad person and no good for Musa's family. He said Laura told him Musa had some sweet, well-behaved kids and that they never did anything wrong. They was just so obedient and wouldn't get in any trouble at all. They never did anything wrong, never got in any trouble at all. And that Musa just would beat the kids for nothing. And that her dealings with Musa had changed. She told Khalid this, that her dealings with Musa had changed. He just seemed like he did not want to give me the attention anymore. He seemed like he was just withdrawn. This is what Khaled told investigators that Laura told him. So in a few lines of Laura's testimony as well, she threw Khaled, one of Musa's friends, under the bus because Khaled uh, found out that she found out that Khaled was not going to testify for her. So Laura told the district attorney that he was selling guns because Khaled told Musa that Laura had asked him for money too. And when he told her, she said he was a crook and no good, and that she was going to turn state evidence over on him too. He was selling guns on Hospitality Lane, and that no one would believe a stupid, fat, ugly looking man like him. You know what? The pot can't talk about the kettle.
Mm.
You know?
That's some dirty stuff. That's dirty.
Yep. College said, Laura said, tell Musa, and I'm just going to say that you're lying. This is what she told his friend. So I'm just like going through, dissecting this stuff and going through this stuff. I'm just like, pretty much not shocked. Not shocked. And I wonder, has she really even had a real friend in her life? Because it seemed like any friends that she have, it comes with strings attached. And who wants a friend where you got to always have strings attached? Who wants a sister or a brother? Anybody. It don't just got to be a friend. But just think about it, Rick. Who wants somebody in their life where every time something happens, it comes with strings attached?
I don't want that at all.
Just think
I don't
about
want that stuff at all. Nah.
Just living like that. So now I'm gonna get back to Janet Masters because this is gonna get deeper.
Yeah.
Miss Janet Masters is a 5'3" Caucasian blue-eyed woman between the ages of 65 and 70. She lived across from our family house on Robert Street in the city of Lake Elsinore. Miss Masters was friends with both Lord Cowling and Musa. Miss Masters told investigators that she would not be testifying for Lord Cowling because the acts that was mentioned that Miss Cowling did not tell the truth, and that Janet was not aware of any of this false information. Miss Masters stated she never ever saw this abused woman in captivity, like Laura said. Miss Masters said she saw a woman who was running back and forth over to her home across the way, and that Laura had brought her children over all the time, especially in the morning, during the morning hours. Janet Masters said Laura used her address to receive letters from her incarcerated husband, who was Laura's two children's father. That's Miriam and Ahmed. Janet stated Laura got 1 to 2 letters from her husband every week. Plus, Laura spoke to her husband on collect calls once a week, and her son spoke to his father as well. Now, when we lived over there, that's where all the letters was going, because Dad didn't want the letters coming to our address because the man was threatening his family, and he didn't want the letters coming there, And, for her to state, in interviews and all of that, and to tell people that Dad kept her away from her husband, I don't understand. Why would you say that a person that you're saying that you was married to and that you was in love with and that you wanted the relationship to work, because you told Terry Crumpton that even though, like he said, you saw all that bad stuff going on in the house and stuff, you still wanted
to work.
You still wanted that sickness.
Yeah.
You still wanted that food.
Yeah, she said she saw all y'all against the wall like y'all was robots.
Yeah.
When she first came in the home. Come on now.
That you still wanted that crap to work. Though you saw that. And she was asked this by Mr. Crumpton in the interview, that so you telling me, but I liked it when he said, so do you not see this as karma? Because you said you went in with your eyes wide open, and you said he was nice, he was charming, and he was very helpful, and that You was in love with him and you wanted the relationship to work. Okay, but why are you going back and forth across the way saying you
At
got
Janet's
another
home. Yeah.
husband?
Yeah.
You got a husband. Well, she did have a husband because she wasn't legally married to our father at all. She was girlfriend, mistress, whatever, but that won't no polygamous relationship right there at all. And you got a husband. And then he's writing letters. And so Janet said Laura used her address to receive the letters from her incarcerated husband, and that she would talk to him on the phone, and so would her son. And sometimes she said she would come and knock on the door, alerting Laura that her husband was on the phone, and she would come across the way and bring her son, and that they would be over there for hours on the phone with him. Janet said Laura's husband would call and she would alert Laura that her husband was on the phone, and Laura would come over to her house and speak to her husband for hours. Hours. Janet said Laura was met with threats by her husband that he was going to get her when he get out, and that Laura recorded him a few times with a small cassette that she had, which was probably the same cassette.
Same, yes, that she did with
Cassette that
y'all.
she had in our home and was
Exactly,
recording.
recording.
Why she didn't report him? Why she didn't report him? Why you didn't get a DA those recordings? Why you didn't get them that? Laura would borrow Miss Masters' car all the time and even left her children with Miss Masters for 2 days when Musa kicked her out of his house. Now, I remember when we lived over there on Robert Street, I know that there was something that happened, and I'm not for sure what happened, but I know that there was a lot of police coming to the house, and
So
Dad
hold on.
got
So
sick of it.
she left her children at Miss
Janet's house.
Masters' home after Dad kicked her out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And used her car to go somewhere.
Okay.
So Miss Master said, okay, let me go back to where I was at.
You was at the part she kicked out the house.
Okay, yeah. So Dad had her move out the house because police kept coming to our house, and so she went to Janet's house and went over there and stayed. And she had that lady keeping her kids. And so Miss Master said she witnessed Laura yelling at her son for going in the refrigerator, and Laura took her son and locked her son in the bathroom. And not just Janet said this, but his aunt said it in her testimony that she witnessed her lock him in the bathroom. Janet said Laura told her that her son had some disabled elements and that he was retarded.
And she said this about her own son.
We don't use that word. I mean, that word.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing I want. Here's the thing I want to point out. She said that about her own son. How you talk? Come on now? That's crazy. That is ridiculous.
And that he had anger issues and that he would get into a lot of stuff. So she had to place him in a place where it was kind of isolated so he wouldn't get into stuff. So she said she didn't pay it any attention. Now, remember, this is a letter that this lady that is a friend of Laura's and our father's, a neighbor that Laura was really close to, and our father was, I guess, semi-close to. But this lady won't gonna testify for her. And Miss Masters said that Laura not only received letters at her home across the way, but she was receiving welfare checks as well. And I think we kind of elaborated on to that more because I know coming up in, Musa's testimony, he's going to talk about that more, about the welfare fraud and a lot of stuff that she was doing. Miss Masters said there was never any talk about Laura being abused or her children being abused, that Laura mostly talked about our mother and Musa's children being abused. Janet said she did not report it because she never saw it. This was just stuff that Laura spoke out of her mouth, but she never stated to her that she was being
Mm.
abused or her children was being abused. Janet says she never saw it because she rarely saw Musa's children. She saw Laura and Musa, and she saw Laura's children all the time. So, and then it goes on. Miss Masters stated that Musa put Laura out of his house because Laura stayed with her. Musa put Laura out of his house, and Laura stayed with her for a week. But her son's behavior was so alarming, she had Laura leave her home, and she checked herself into a hotel and told Miss Masters that she would call Musa for some more financial help later. So the thing is to myself, is that why would you keep coming back? Why would you keep coming back? And a lot of people don't know that. Is that first you have this police report, several of them, where she leaves and then she's escorted. Then he kicks you out and then you come back. Then you need some money. And then not just that, but then you go and you meet with our father and have his family friend come drop you off at a restaurant after he gets out 2 days later and he gives you money. But you're so afraid of him and you in fear of him and all that, but you meeting him. And this was during when this stuff first happened.
Mm.
Miss Masters stated that Laura told her Musa didn't care anymore for her or pay her any attention, nor did he trust her. Laura told her that her plan was to return back to her husband when he got out. And that's what she told Mr. Crumpton.
Now here's the thing, like in a lot of interviews, if y'all go and look, she's always saying Musa didn't trust her anymore, and then he just threw
Mm-hmm.
her in the garage and all this stuff. But there was a reason behind it. She was, doing some crazy stuff, and he was kicking her out of the home. So
This is a person you talking about that locked you in the garage. And like I said, it ain't even been really even all the way broken down because I'm still confused myself because first she says it was 4 years. And I know I always say this. She says it was 4 years. Then she says it was 5 years. 5 years ain't gonna work. Then she says it was 3 years. Then she tells Dr. Phil no, it was more like 2.5 years. But then you go on the Tamron Hall show and you say 6 months.
yep. But see, we've been really going through that and proving that she wasn't locked in the garage because the first week we gave all those dates with the social worker came out in January about 3 times, then February and March. Um, we got all of that.
It's in January. I mean,
Hmm.
I remember them verbatim because we done been over it so many times. January of '99, 3 times they come
Yeah,
out. February of '99, they come out what 4 times.
yeah.
March they come out 2 times, and I'm just like, you padlocked in a garage, nailed shut. But yet you have these police coming out to the house, and you know, they don't see any of this stuff, and then you're going and saying no, none of that stuff didn't happen to me. I don't know where these. I'm just like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And then you seeing articles, and she's not even saying anything. Like on one Facebook live she was on, she was sitting up there. Somebody alerted me, a friend of ours. She said Laura is sitting up there saying that she was locked up from 1980 to 1999. I don't know if you saw that on
Haven't seen
Facebook.
that one. That's
Yeah,
a
she
new
was
one
on
for
a
me.
live, and I went up there and comment.
That's
I was
that's a
like,
that's ridiculous
that
right
is
there.
a lie. That is a lie. And a lot of people said they was confused because they said that didn't she say it was 6 months?
Yeah, but hey, she's a liar, so she gonna say whatever.
Yep. Okay. She was really concerned about why would you care if a man like that supposedly treated you that way Why would you care if he paid any attention to you or trusted you?
Exactly.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Miss Masters said Laura ate really well, that Musa and Laura would come over to her home when she invited them to eat dinner, and that Laura ate unusual amounts of food and packed food as well to take home. So,
Mm.
how was you starving?
Yeah, and they're going over her home to eat.
You're going over to her house
Yeah, and they're eating over there. So it's like
and
then
you
she's taking
leaving.
food
Yeah,
back with her.
yeah. And Miss Master said Musa was very kind and helpful to her, and that Musa was smart, charming, and that he never displayed any control or violence towards Laura that she saw. Never. She never saw that. Miss Masters also told investigators that Laura used her deep freezer to store food in all the time and will always come over to get food out of her refrigerator and her freezer to take back over to Moose's home to cook. And that she overheard every conversation Laura had with her husband when he would call. Janet said, "You would never think Laura and Musa was together because Laura and her husband was talking about how much they loved each other and how they was getting back together when he got out."
That's
So,
crazy.
I mean, you just got everybody. You think you got everybody food, you know? Just really think you got everybody food. I'm just like, might as well just come on out and tell the truth, cause
She's not gonna do that. Trust me. Like I said, she's not gonna do that. She got to keep the lie up. Got to keep
yeah,
it going. Got to keep it going.
yep.
That's basically.
This part about her husband though, I mean, how you got, I can see some stuff that she say, i I catch on to it real fast. I'm like, how you got two husbands? How you got two husbands?
Crazy.
That's just mm-mm.
I'm gonna play this clip right here, right quick. See this clip will play. Just give me a second.
Okay.
Dubbed himself Mansa Musa Muhammad.
I was visiting my husband back and forth in the jail, and he would say, "Well, I'll be the one to visit from now on," and
That's what he told you, that
that's
he
what he
will
told.
visit your husband.
Right.
So your husband and him had conversations.
Well, found out it wasn't true. He never did visit him.
Never did visit him.
Yeah, I found that from my husband when he got out.
Right. So before that went down, were you
Mm-hmm.
telling your husband that you were seeing this guy? Did you tell your husband? Did you
I never had a chance to even tell him anymore. He wouldn't let me go and see him
anymore?
anymore.
So did you tell him at least one time?
One time.
One time.
Exact one time.
And what did he tell you?
He said in Islam, um, there's a protector or a wali that can be appointed by the husband. Say if there's a war or a man is away from the home a length of time.
Now, my thing, she said that she was going over to Janet's. That Janet said she was going over to her home to talk to her husband on the phone, and she was typing up letters when she was there. But up here, she's saying she didn't talk to him anymore,
Talk to who?
her husband anymore. After he, for a while, because Musa told her that he was gonna go and see him in prison, speak with him, and she said she didn't get to really communicate with him anymore. But through Janet's master's letter, it's stating that Laura always talked to her husband, and she
Okay,
was
so
sending him letters.
but after dad was incarcerated, how did she get in contact?
No, 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 no. She's saying no. She's saying after her husband was locked up. She's saying, and she's well, yeah, you're right. How did Dad get in contact with him? Yeah, so
No,
yeah,
no, no. I'm saying, how did after Musa got in trouble, how did Laura
no, no,
get?
no. Hmm. Get in contact with her husband. Oh, I see what you're trying to say.
I'm
Yeah.
following what you're saying, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying now.
how did
Yeah,
she get in
yeah,
contact
yeah.
with him? If she didn't have no letters, she stopped talking to him and she didn't know his whereabouts.
You're right.
How did you get in contact with him?
Yeah.
That's the
But we
thing I'm trying
we
to
but we
figure
all
out.
we all we all know that's a lie. But I get what you're saying now, because if she had no contact with him and he was locked up and everything after the fact, when Dad got locked up and everything, how did you get in contact with him when
I
you
would
didn't know
just
where to
say
reach?
this, that it's on
Yeah.
file dates and proof of all those letters that Laura wrote her husband from the time he was incarcerated all the way up until the time she was out of that home. That she had been writing him. That she always had contact with him, and that she's making that up. There's letters, and those gonna be introduced soon. There's facts that she lied about that. And that's what I was telling her daughter on TikTok is that you was 4 months old. You don't know the things that all of us know and that we found out about, you
And
know.
plus, we way older than them. I mean,
Yeah. But I'm just saying there's just things that, that they they wouldn't know, you know, and that they wouldn't have been, aware of because of their age. And I'm just like, it's something ain't right about them. It's just something just not right about them. I don't know, and I think that it's very dangerous. Like I said to some of our siblings, even for myself, I don't have the desire to even try to even be around them, And people talking about talking and getting together, no, it's too dangerous.
here's another clip of her saying kind of the same thing. Just hold on.
Hmm.
No, it's not good to take your children down to see your husband in jail, and it traumatizes them. And I'll just go and visit them, and relay messages back and forth. If you got a letter sent to them, I'll just give it to me and I'll take it to them. Now, once again, I thought that was a great idea. And later
Taking
on
your
to find
children.
out, yeah, later on to find out, he never received not one letter I sent to him because he never gave it to him. And he would
Did he
come
go
back.
see your husband? Did he
Mhm.
ever go see your husband?
He went to see him one time. He sure did. I never came back again. But he would tell me that he was always going up there.
To keep
Uh-huh.
you at bay, to
To
keep you
keep you at
calm.
bay. Right. Keep you calm. Everything's fine. He said everything's gonna work out. Just hang with us. And he'll be out in 3 or 4 years. Don't worry. Everything's gonna be great.
So you were never able to talk to your husband on the phone?
No, never talked to him on the phone. I wanted to go down there. As a matter of fact, I did get to see him like maybe a couple of times, and then that's when Musa cut it off and said, "No, that just doesn't look good." And yeah, that was it. I figured we was doing the letter campaign, and I thought it was odd later
That he
because
never brought you back.
yeah, because he never sent me a letter. It was always
Sometimes that's
verbal.
how people cope. They don't
Yeah,
even want letters coming in. It's
yeah.
just
Yeah, I would give him the letters. Musa would claim he would give it to him, but I never got a letter back from him. It was always verbal from Musa to
him
me.
telling you.
And it's funny how you don't see that in the beginning. You see it later down the line, but you don't see that right then and there. And sure enough, oh my gosh, he locked us up in that garage and he homeschooled his children, and I homeschooled Muhammad and Miriam. Well, Miriam was only a little few months old by that time, though. But so there was no communication outside. I wasn't working, so we pretty much just disappeared, if you want to call it that, off the face of the earth. It's poof.
Yeah.
And I found out later from the detective, my husband had put in a missing persons on him.
Really?
And I didn't even know. Didn't even know.
Wow.
And then when we would go in town, like to the store or something like that, he would have us unveil him and his wife, so no
But
one
that's
could
the
see our
Muslim
faces.
tradition. There was nothing out of the
Not
ordinary.
right, and no one saw your face. So that way, because we were on billboards, we were on posters, and
What?
nobody saw us. And it was almost
Oh
Now,
boy.
hold on for a second. Now, it hit different now because we got more information. Now we already went against these clips and saying she was lying, but now we got information to show. I mean, to reach everyone because we got transcripts. So now, when you listen to these, it hit different. You hear more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because in the transcripts in her testimony that we read, she was cross-examined by Moose's attorney, and he asked her how many times did she write her husband. She said she wrote him all the time, and he said, "How did you get in contact?" He said, "Who was Helen Kilmore?" And she said, "That was my husband's aunt, and we made the decision for my son to go live with my husband's aunt, so that when he got out, that he was going there when he got out, her husband was going to be living there so that he could take his son."
Mm-hmm.
But
She did. Yep.
all that
Mm-hmm.
billboard stuff,
Yeah,
do you
but like
know you can
it say
go
now. Mhm.
archive?
Yeah,
I
and
mean, I don't
find
need
that.
to do that, because the thing is that 5, 6 district attorneys that was on this case, some retired, and then some that's the district attorney now that we've been meeting with has already told us that that was a lie. That no
Yeah,
detective never told her that she was on
yeah, but
billboards.
yeah,
But
but playing it now. But
why would state
hmm
detectives tell federal detectives? This is the weird part I'm trying to
yeah,
get at. Why would state detectives tell federal detectives that she was missing and on billboards? This was not a federal case; it was a state case.
yeah.
So
But
I'm
see,
just
now
like,
everybody, now your eyes are open now because we've been reading all of this stuff, and where Janet Masters is stating that Laura was communicating with her husband the whole time. But she's telling everybody,
mm-mm.
"Oh, I never wasn't communicating with him. I didn't type him no letters, none of this stuff." But as you see, she was. So
She crazy.
yeah.
Mm, Lord.
But at the same time, like you said, she told me she married the Musa. It's like, come on now.
Mm-mm. Oh boy. Like I said, it's just. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Okay, so we're gonna get back to. You got any more clips?
Nah, you go. You can go. Yeah, I just wanted to play that just to since we're talking about all this, just to play it so people can.
Yeah. And so Miss Master says she thought Musa was Laura's husband, but she found out Laura had a husband that she met.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. She found out that Laura had a husband. That was when she met our mother after we all had moved out of the house. She said that's when she discovered Musa had 13 children and a actual legal wife. When Musa returned to get his van from her home that he had parked over there, she says that's when she met our mother and she met his children.
Mm. That's something.
Wow. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. I'm just like that clip that you just showed a few minutes
Mm.
ago when
Yeah.
they was sitting up there like, what? They was in
Yeah. Well,
shock.
it was all. Yeah. It was an awe. But first of all, you got to think about people that don't know the real story. They're gonna think like that. Just think about how many stories that we've heard or thought it was a certain way, and you found out, oh, they was lying. You don't know. You don't.
Mm.
It happens, but it is funny how they're all about it. But they didn't do their research either. Nobody
I
did their
think
research.
I know
Nobody.
they knew. I know they knew. I don't think they
Yeah,
cared.
they know.
Because you got people making YouTube channels You got people making YouTube channels and they put in like they got 9 followers and they just go up there, make a channel and go up there and make a comment. And they know, or they'll put like the lady that made a comment. The comment that she made, I forget what it was.
It's on our page.
Yeah, it was on the Tracy Potts interview, where the stage interview that Tracy Potts did, claiming that she had transcripts and she was reading all that foul, disgusting stuff about things that happen to children. She stated that what was it? I done lost my train of thought. Like I said, it's just so much stuff.
Yeah, I'm telling y'all, it's so much, and we can get deep
it's
into
like,
it.
I mean, it's like it's everywhere.
Yeah,
and it's like a puzzle you trying to put together. But I'm just like, you know, that right there, that's just crazy, especially the billboard part. Somebody Googled that. Was Laura Cowing ever up on any billboards? That right there, you know, that's crazy.
Is this the one where you said, the lady said, that woman is not lying? I guess the postal worker.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah. This lady posted on that video, the first exposing Laura Cowan part 1. This lady said, that woman is not lying. I guess the postal worker, who she said slid the note to, is lying too. I guess the other person that was being held captive is lying too. Point blank, period. Would he let her leave on her own? Yes or no?
Well, if you sit up here and you watch what we just talked about, what Janet Masters said, then you would know.
Yeah, that lady, but we were saying like the postal worker, she wasn't called as a witness.
The postal worker is,
and she didn't slip. And she didn't slide no note, y'all. It was a letter, and the lady, the postal worker, mailed it, so she didn't read anything.
It wasn't no slid letter. That's all made up. She made it all
made up. Yeah.
Because when she went to the post office, she was going to the post office to pick up letters from her husband. That's what she was going. She even lied about what she was going there for. She was going there to pick up letters from her husband. That's what she was going to do. Her husband. Because Musa wasn't her husband. Musa was her boyfriend.
So like we've been telling people, no, follow this page because we're exposing everything in this case.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
You know, we talk so much about this and we're off, not up here, we're doing things. I'm like, Crystal, did we talk about this already? And you're like, yeah, we did. I'm like, remember, sometimes I tell you, Crystal, we talked about this, then I go back. I don't know what we talked about because it's so much, it's so many, it's different angles from even, it's just like, just with her with the letters and stuff, and like this postal worker, and then with her husband calling over to Janet's house. It's so many different angles to everything and other side stories that connect with that. You know what I mean? To the point it's like, okay, you try not to go over the same stuff you talked about, but it's kind of hard because there's another side of it that you have to talk about again. You know?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm just tired of things overlapping, you know, with her and all of that. And then the motives when we read part 1 and part 2 of this case, you know, the motive that Julie was up there trying to create for her. Like, it wasn't even like you was fighting for the severity of things that happen to children. It was like you just fighting for this adult, you know. And then a lot of stuff that she said, she knew as a DA that she was making that stuff up.
Fighting for the
you know. What'd you say, Hannah?
Fighting for the perpetrators instead of fighting for the victims, which are the defendants.
Yeah.
I mean, not the defendants, the victims.
Yeah. You know? And so I'm just like, I mean, Even now, I know that they. I mean, I'm just like, because I asked the girl that you was making the
you went at her.
I'm trying to figure out, how do you know that she's not lying? How do you know that? Do you know us? Was you there? Do you know that for a fact that she's not lying? I'm just like, wow. And then you look at little clips, things that she said and things that she's done. It's like, no, that didn't happen to you. That happened to such and such.
Exactly.
No, that did not happen to you.
This mic is tripping.
I said it's just it's something else. And then getting back to Miss Masters, she stated in her letter that she would not be favorable to Laura because she never saw any of the things Laura accused her of seeing, that there was no garage to the house we lived in. So she could not testify about anything because Musa and Laura was both her friends, and that Musa cut her grass and bushes and he would pick groceries up for her, and that Musa and her even sometimes smoked cigarettes together.
See, this is what we've been saying. He's not crazy. I mean, he abuses kids, or he out there, but he knew how to communicate with other people to keep them, I guess, to keep them away. You know what I mean? In a sense,
Yeah,
having
he
them
knew how
think that
far
he's
to go.
yeah, to
He
make
knew
people
his
think
limit.
he's this good guy, that he wouldn't abuse his kids, he wouldn't do these things, so he would do good things for so many people around him that you wouldn't think that he was doing that. You know.
Yep. And before I forget, also I had spoke to one of our advocates today, and she told me that Laura did not press any charges against our father because she saw that clip, because I sent it to her, where Laura stated that she pressed charges against our father when Detective Fogel asked her, did she want to press charges? She said no, she didn't press charges against him, because she said when they got the case, a lot of DAs, it got passed down because they was leery about a lot of stuff that she was saying, because nothing was consistent. It was a lot of inconsistencies. She said nothing was consistent at all. So she said that, that was hard for them to go along with some of the things, that she had said. And she said, no, she didn't press charges against our father. She said, if you look at the transcripts, it states the state versus Mansa Musa Muhammad. So she said it was the state that picked up the charges. She said, especially because children was involved. Xing all adults out in the home. She said it was children that was involved. And then she said, due to all those examinations and things that was done, that was a lot of evidence that they had. She said it was just so much, overwhelming evidence and stuff like that. She said that's what got him really heavily convicted. She said, no, Laura did not press any charges against him at all. And she said, yeah, podcasters and people going to take it on and take her on, because she said it's Hollywood, and Hollywood like lies. They love the lies. So yeah, she said they're going to, do that. And the evidence that they was looking for, that Laura was talking about, they couldn't find it. So she said she confirmed Laura did testify as an impeachment witness because her allegations was not credible. She also stated that 7 of the minor children in the house was severely malnutrition, and the younger teenagers was malnutrition. And she said proof was given through examinations that was taken. She said that she's talking about all of us, all 11 of us that lived in that house at the time that was being abused. And she said there was no police reports, or because I asked, I said, where are the police reports? Because I want to see myself, where are the police reports? Where is the medical proof? She said there's no police reports, which I was told this by Riverside's district attorney's medical, office director, that there was no proof. She said it was just testimony, hearsay testimony.
It's just a lot of hearsay from Laura. Like, like I said, you lived in the home. Laura wasn't
Yep.
beaten up
I
and
just wanted to see it.
abused. Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah. But they, oh yeah, yeah,
not that I should have ever gave the benefit of the doubt, and I
yeah.
regret that. But I was just like, I mean, where is the proof? And so when I asked one of our advocates today, I asked again, I said, where's the proof? She said, there's no police reports of her having knots on the head, being hit in the ear with a VCR, none of that stuff. She said, there's no proof of that. She suffered any abuse. She said, nor was there any extensive doctor's reports of Laura or her children being abused, like she stated in the media. Those people done seen that stuff, because I done sent them that stuff and they've seen it.
Yeah,
and she told me this too. She said Laura's son was not malnutrition, nor was her daughter's.
Yeah, we pretty much knew all that, but I'm glad that they,
And she told me this. She said during the trial, I asked her this because I wanted to know. I said, was anybody in the courtroom when we was testifying? She said, no. Not all of us testified separately. She said some of your siblings was in conference rooms. She said, yes, when Laura testified, none of her kids was in the courtroom. But she said when her children testified, Laura was in the courtroom, and so was her children. Each of them was sitting in the courtroom. So I was like, so that's just where they got this stuff from. They got it from her.
But I thought it could. Hold on for a second. I thought they couldn't all be in the courtroom together like that, because y'all wasn't in the courtroom when y'all was testifying.
None of us
one
was.
another. So why they let them do that?
Like I said, a lot of biasness. A lot of biasness. Being treated indifferent. We gonna believe her over you. And a lot of behind the scene stuff going on that none of us knew nothing about. And then a lot of, when we spoke to people and we thought we were speaking to them in confidence, those people, we weren't speaking to them in confidence. They was going back repeating things to her, giving her knowledge of what we had, and she was going on the stand using it. Because I'm gonna tell you that this is the God knows truth. There's not, and I'm saying, believe me when I say this, because I don't play with God. I'm telling you, in those transcripts, there's nothing whatsoever of any sexual abuse on this lady at all. That's why it was hard and it was stinging, because I knew when we were sitting up on that Dr. Phil show and she said it, I got the chills. And when I looked down at our sister, I was like, in my head thinking, she doing that to hurt her. That's what she doing. In a disgusting attempt to hurt her. That's why she did that. Because it's not in there. It was a lot of things that she did, and I was waiting to look at. It's not in there at all. At all. It's not never even mentioned. It's never mentioned. And like I said, with that girl in the garage movie, like I said, that's just a made for Hollywood, movie. The movie skipped, and it just didn't even tell. It didn't even tell nothing about in them transcripts about her past and what she did. Like somebody stated, they asked if they had two businesses, why couldn't she sustain two businesses? Why not just shut down one and keep the other one? Why weren't you able to do that? But then you go back, you tell people one thing on the internet, but then you look at her testimony and she was keeping all the books. you know?
Mm-hmm.
So financially, you had to know something if you had all of these identities, all these different names, and you was keeping
Let's
all
let
the
we know. We look. It's like she know her husband was selling guns. You
yeah.
know, she's something there lying. She was selling guns too. I mean, this all is just made up stuff, like I said, Hollywood stuff to make polish it up, make it look a certain way. When in reality, she was up there abusing children, and she got a deal out of the situation.
Mm.
And then going on platforms trying to act like Musa was raping her when we all know that it was happened to one of our siblings, and she used that story. But that's so disgusting, you know,
It's so
about
crazy
being.
after the fact, speaking to these DAs and stuff. I probably share it one day, but we've talked about it. All the stuff that she was doing behind closed doors, not just things you're finding out in transcripts, but we all knew that already, but just things that she was doing behind closed doors, lies that she was telling and stuff.
Yeah,
And how people,
some other lies you was telling me. You told me this was some other stuff that she was stuff that she was saying.
she told one DA that she was raped 5 times and had 5 miscarriages like
Yeah,
Rochelle
yeah,
Knight.
that's it. Yeah.
She told one DA that, and I'm not gonna mention his name, but she told one DA that
Mm.
she was telling different. It was confusing because she was telling different district attorneys in this case different stuff,
Yeah, at different times because we had
and
you had like what it was like
wasn't,
what 15, right? 15
yeah,
total, something like
and it
that.
wasn't consistent because even Julie Baldwin said when she first got a hold of the case, she said she didn't know anything about it. It was just too much overwhelming information, and that it was a 9-year case that had not went to trial. She was just getting it. She didn't. She don't even know what happened. And I'm gonna tell you, she's the problem with society. She's the problem. Her, Laura, because they've shown all of us. Julie, being a district attorney, she's the problem with society. The detective, Zerko, he's the problem with society. And Laura, she's the problem with society. Because you got a DA that's looking at a case with a lot of children in it that's being treated this way. And instead of them taking the children's side and putting the individual away for what he did to the children, they're trying to overlap what happened to us for her. And then she's like, oh, yeah, in my sick head, I got them right where I want them. So I'm just going to tell them whatever they want to hear because I got them. I'm just going to tell them whatever. And then you got another one that's looking at both of them actually. Oh, yeah, once we get him convicted, we're going to get promotions and all of that stuff.
All right, everyone, there you have it.
Yep.
So so next week what we're gonna do, the detective. We'll see.
That's going to be like a 3-parter, that one right there.
Yeah.
That's just going to be crazy right there. Because he lied so much. He lied so much. It's like, went on TV and lied
Mm-hmm.
right there in all of our faces while we sitting there.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm gonna end this right here. This was a good one.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Y'all go back and watch all our other live videos we've done. We're just gonna keep pushing it forward. Just bringing more information out to everybody, and there's some other social workers, other detectives, and Musa had a team of investigators. They had reports of her out eating with him and shopping around in other places. We're gonna bring that out too.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We'll get back with y'all next week. Have a safe weekend.
Good night.